Nanti bila dalam tadi dah habis, nanti saya boleh sorry, the link to it.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the Naked Truth 2.0, a webinar on the present reality of recruitment process 2023. We meet again, and yes, the webinar is entitled The Naked Truth, and please, no. Keep your clothes on. We are aiming for this program to be entirely rated PG or umum. Again, as I mentioned, thank you for joining us this lovely afternoon. My name is Shazwani and I'll be your moderator for today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this webinar is brought to you by the hardworking people of the Language Unit, General Studies Department and CISEC Unit of Politeknik Ungku, Omar, Malaysia. Again, welcome everyone. How are you this afternoon? We are ecstatic to have each and every one of you joining us today. We are happy, beyond humble and grateful that you find the time off of your busy schedule to join us this afternoon. Now, those joining us on YouTube Live, hello everyone. Please drop a comment of your location so we can have a little shout out. Now, we have viewers from all over Malaysia today, and especially we have a special viewers. We have those from Politeknik Seberang Perai, Pulau Pinang. Are you guys here? Hi orang Penang. Those from Politeknik Ibrahim Sultan. Hello people from Johor, how are you? Also from Politeknik Metro Tasik Glugor, Politeknik Tuanku Sultanah Bahiyah Kulim, Kolej Komputer Merloh Malaysia, Politeknik Mersing Johor, Politeknik Jeli Kelantan. How are you everyone? We are beyond happy that you find the time to join us today. And especially, we have people from Institut Kemahiran Mara Kuching, Malaysia. Hi, Sarawak, how are you? Those from Quest International University here in Ipoh, College MSC, Panting Selangor, UCSI College Malaysia, IKBN Peretak Selangor, Malaysia. Hello, hi, orang Kuda Selangor. And ladies and gentlemen, we have special guests, viewers joining us, our brothers and sisters from Indonesia, all the way from Indonesia. A little shout out, please drop a comment if I mention your location. Those from Politeknik Piksi Ganesha, Indonesia, are you guys here? From Sekolah Tinggi Informatika and Komputer Indonesia from Negeri Malang, Politeknik Negeri Malang, Indonesia, Management Informatika Indonesia, our brothers and sisters from Universitas Widyagama Malang, Indonesia, and our strategic partners from Universitas Muhammadiyah Buton, Indonesia. Please drop a comment. Should you be in any of those locations, or if you're joining us from any other location, drop us a comment. We will have a little shout out. Nice for you to join us today. All right, now ladies and gentlemen, while we are here, why don't we also click the like and subscribe button on our ELU YouTube channel? All right, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, today's webinar is for you, students and fresh grad who are about to embark on the world of job seeking and job hunting later on in your near future. We have a lineup of impressive speakers, 4 industries experts who will share their knowledge and insights, and perhaps will spill some beans too on the reality and current job hunting procedure, preparation and challenges, what not to do and what not to do if you are looking for a job or if you are hunting for a job, right? So get your pen and paper ready, or if you do not have that, don't worry. The recording of this session will always be available on our YouTube channel. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we guarantee you this kind of information, this kind of knowledge, this kind of intel, you will not get anywhere else. We promise you that. All right, moving on, just a little housekeeping before we get started. Should you have any questions during the session or during the speaker's presentation, don't be shy, please type them away in our comment section in YouTube. We will address your question during Q&A session at the end of each presenter, all right, don't worry. And also, number 2, second housekeeping, do not forget to fill up your attendance details as an e-certificate will be awarded for your participation today. All right, the registration link will be available in the comment section in YouTube Live at the end of our program, right? So please stay tuned for that link. All right, moving on. To begin our program, it is our absolute pleasure to have with us today Dr. Shamsuri bin Abdullah, Director, Politeknik Ungku Omar, Malaysia, to deliver his special remarks. Please welcome, Doctor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the Naked Truth 2.0 webinar on the present reality of recruitment process. The main objective of today's webinar is to expose the audience with the necessary skills and tricks on how to face the recruitment process that we know has become more challenging each day. What used to be working before would become obsolete these days. That is why inputs such as these, coming from the experts, the industry players, are needed. Today we have lined up some reputable speakers which are knowledgeable in their own fields. They will be sharing their experiences, real experiences in conducting interview sessions, and of course, how they handle interviewees that come from all walks of life, the bad and the good. Each of the sessions today will be geared in helping you prepare and be aware on what is coming. It is a tough world out there. How can you ace the interview sessions that you will face later? How would you become an outstanding, irresistible candidate? How would you tackle your interviewers? And most importantly, how can you make your chances to be hired higher? All these will be covered later. Thank you to the committee members who have worked very hard in making today a success. Not to forget our guest speakers. Thank you for willingly share your valuable experiences with us. There is no word can be used to describe how indebted we are. I've been informed that more than 25 learning institutions, both locally and abroad, have actually pre-registered to be part of this webinar. From Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, India, and of course, all over Malaysia, both public and private higher learning institutions. Thank you for supporting us. I hope the number will grow and make this webinar the talk of the town. To all viewers, sit back, relax, and enjoy this beneficial webinar. Collect something along the way, and I can assure you this is going to be an eye-opening session that exposes you to the reality, the naked truth of the present recruitment process out there. From Politeknik Ungku Omar, Malaysia, the real home of TVET champions, we present the Naked Truth 2.0. Enjoy the show. Thank you. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much to Dr. Shamsuri, our Director of Politeknik Ungku Omar, Malaysia, for your encouraging words and also for your warm welcome. Yes, those from Polisas, Polis Segamat Malaysia, and also from MTech. Yes, we see you. Hello, hi, how are you? How are you this afternoon? Yes, please drop us a comment, drop us the location of your whereabouts so we can have a little shout out from time to time. All right, so happy that you are able to join us this afternoon. All right, moving right along. As I promised earlier on, we brought to you a lineup of industry's experts with years of experience and priceless insights, and perhaps some tips and secrets on the reality of present recruitment process. What are the challenges? What are some of the tricks and tips from the insiders? They are the person to go to talk about what makes a standout resume and what makes a winning interview candidate and what makes you to be able to land that job. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our speakers that we have on board today. The first one, we'll start the session with Ms. Amithavalli Govindan, Officer of Corporate Industrial and Services Unit, CISEC from Politeknik Ungku Omar, Malaysia, followed by the second session. There she is. Hello, Ms. Amita. Hello, hi. followed by the second session by Mr. Subhajit Mitra, Director Talent Acquisition, Asia Pacific Career, and Ms. Ravinder Kaur, Head of Human Resources Career, Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. They will be joining us later on. And the last session will be conducted by Mr. Khairel Akmal Idris. He is currently the team leader from Cloud Infrastructure Service Malaysia. Yes, we got big names for you today. The organizers are pleased and humble that all of our speakers are able to take the time off from their busy schedule to be with us. So viewers, please stay with us until the end of the session, the end of the programs, to get all the tips and insiders tips from all of our speakers. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, today's webinar will be divided into 3 sessions. Okay. So we'll start the first one with Miss Amitha. She'll be explaining on the topic "Fail to plan is planning to fail." Now, you students, this is where you should focus because Miss Amitha will brief us on the preparation needed. You as a student to brace yourself for the upcoming job hunting phase later on in your future. All right. So session 2 will be highlighted by Miss Subhajit and Miss Ravinder from Career. They'll discuss on candidates from hell, the real truth about job interview candidates. This will be interesting. So please stay tuned for that session. And the last session will be helmed by Mr. Khairel. He'll talk about the telltale, really real stories. All right. So please stay tuned. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's kick off with the first session with Ms. Amithavalli Govindan, Officer of Corporate Industrial and Services Unit, CISEC, Politeknik Ungku, Omar, Malaysia, on fail to plan is planning to fail. This stage is yours, Ms. Amrita. Take it away.
Hi, can you hear me now? Hi, good evening, everyone. Okay, my name is Amithavalli Govindan, as you can see on the slide. Okay, there seems to be a bit of issue with my slides, but it's okay. I think the hosts are sharing it. They're sharing it, right? Okay. All right. Thank you. So we move on. Okay. As usual in life, we have a lot of hiccups. But we move forward. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amithavalli Govindan. Currently attached to Politeknik Ungku, Omar. Okay, so this is a bit of intro on me. Okay, I have 16 years teaching experience in mechanical and manufacturing engineering field. Currently, I'm also serving as the career officer with the corporate unit of Politeknik Ungku, Omar. I'm also a certified career service provider. And then I'm also the Director of Membership Care of National Career Development Centre Association Malaysia, which is fondly called as NACDA Malaysia. So for those of you who are wondering what is NACDA Malaysia is a career association for career practitioners in Malaysia who are serving with Institute of Higher Learning. Okay, so moving on. So I think without further delay, I think we will jump into our topic. So since we are starting with job hunting, the first thing that any candidate needs to understand is looking for a job is a job itself. So this is the first mindset that you need to have, that you need to get in tune with. Okay, so we cannot do job hunting without a plan. So today what I will be sharing with you guys is a 5-step plan on how to actually secure a job that you would like to be in now and a career that you would like to be in another 5 years time or 6 years time. Okay, so moving on. Step 1. Define your career goals. So that's the first step that you need to comply. So first thing, when we are doing job hunting, you need to reflect on what is it that you want in your career. Okay, so you need to ask yourself what kind of job I would like to be in. Would I like to be working in a NGO? Would I love to work in a multinational company? Or would I like to work with small enterprises so I can grow together with them? So that is what you need to reflect on first. Okay. And then once you know what kind of job you would like, then you need to reflect on three things: on your strength, your weakness, and your interest. What is your strength? What is your weakness? And what is your strength? Okay, so example of strength. Okay, so these are some examples. Okay, so you can see uh, our icon there, trying to balance between his strengths and weaknesses. So that is what we do in our life every day. Each and every one of us have strength, have weaknesses. So what kind of strength are we talking about? Do you have good communication skill? Are you a team player? Do you have project management skills? Or it can be any other skill. If you are looking to be a driver, then the skill that is needed to be a driver is actually driving skills. So you need to see what kind of job you are looking forward to, and then see uh, for strengths that are relevant to that particular set of job that they are looking for. Okay, so but you need to remember something. When you are looking at your strength, you need to see that it actually aligns with the job that you're looking for or the career that you are looking forward to. Okay, and another thing is that when you're putting your strengths in your resumes, you need to remember that you can actually prove you actually have those skills. So if you are telling people I have good communication skill, usually they can see that during your interview. But being a debater in your organization or being part of a negotiation of a project actually proves that you do have good communication skill. The same applies to other skills that you put in. And then we look at weaknesses. Okay, so everyone have weaknesses. So why do we need to see this? You need to see what is your weakness, because then you can improve it, or you can avoid being in job that actually that requires something that you are weak in. Let's say you are a very shy person. Okay, it is a bit difficult for you to work in a marketing line, because marketing people are required to deal with people day in day out. So you need to ask yourself, do I want to be in this field? So if you seriously want to be in that field, then you need to improve yourself. If you are the shy kind or the introvert kind. All right. So this is why we need to reflect on our weaknesses. And then we talk about interests. Okay. So what kind of interest do you have? This has nothing to do with your strength, or it has nothing to do with your weakness. Interest is something that you are simply interested in. But if you're writing that in your resume or in your job application, it would be better to have to show your employers the interest that is relevant to the particular job or for the particular career. Okay, so now you have already done reflecting. You know what kind of job you want to apply. You already know what kind of strength you have, what kind of weakness you have, what interests you have. Now we move on to step 2. So what you do next? We go for career research. You need to research what kind of career is out there for you and what is the requirement of this career. Okay, let's say you want to work in the marketing field, then you need to know where you can actually find jobs regarding that particular field. If you're looking for engineering field, there is so many engineering fields out there. Okay, so when you're looking for certain industries, or when you're looking for certain niche, especially niche industries, you need to do some background search on what is the need. Okay, on what are the things that you actually need to have to actually be able to work with this group of people. So that is where your research option comes in. Okay, so what you can do. Next slide, please. Okay, one, your resources can come from career fairs. Okay, nowadays in Malaysia, you have ample of career fairs. I think in other countries as well, we have ample of career fairs. You have the virtual ones, you have the face-to-face ones. Okay, why do you need to go and see this career fairs? One, it gives you face-to-face exposure with your interviewer, even though you're not interviewing. Okay, at least will give you an insight on what kind of jobs are out there, and also it will give you exposure on what kind of companies are out there that are seriously looking for workers. Okay, so it will give you an insight on what job is in demand and what is not. Okay, and also in career fairs nowadays, you have a lot of resume clinics. You have seminars that are conducted by companies that actually give you information on what is going on currently with that particular industry. So even though you are currently now in semester 3, semester 4, it doesn't matter, do attend career fairs, because they give you an exposure, so that when next time people ask you where you would like to work, at least you know some companies and do not blink. Okay, moving on. Where else? Job search websites. Okay, there are a lot of job search websites. These are just some examples that we currently have in Malaysia. Okay, so do register yourself. If you are seriously job hunting, please register yourself, because they do give you advantage. Okay, they can actually connect you with proper employers. Then you can see whether that those employers are actually okay for you to go for an interview with. Even though you might be the employer of your choice, but they might give you a chance, and that might be your first step toward your job hunting. Okay, if you see, I don't know why, but in Malaysia, all the job search websites seem to be preferring blue color. I don't know why, but I think it's quite common. Okay, so I'm not being partial to any of these companies. This is just examples. You can also explore other job site website. Yeah. Okay, moving on. That is another resource. Okay, the third resource that you can look for when you're looking for career search: industrial association. Okay, so these are some industrial association that I found. Okay, or that I found. Okay, and you can also go and look for this industrial association. They have web page, they have Facebooks, they have other social medias that you can actually look through. Okay, why do you want to see these industrial association websites? Why do you need to see that? One, because it gives you information on what is the current trend in each of these industry. Okay, it also shows you who are the in people. Okay, who are all the big bosses, what are they doing, which company is doing what. So this information you can get from here. And some websites, some industrial association websites actually have career portals, so you can also apply for your jobs there itself. Okay, so now you have found your resources. What do you do next? You have reflected yourself. You have found your next thing. Now you already know what are people looking for, what you have. You already know two things here. So what do you do next? You build your skills. Okay, you build your skills. So how do you build your skills? Okay, one, you can go for internship. Okay, I think internship is compulsory. Okay, you have internship pretty much in all courses, whether you're doing diploma or whether you're doing cert, or even if you're doing degree. All of you need to attend some form of internship, maybe for 3 months, maybe for 6 months. It depends on your institution. You go for internship. But what student really don't see is that when you go for internship, what is the most important thing that you need to look at is that, will your internship actually help you once you hit the job market later as a graduate? Please, this is my personal request. Please do not look for internship at a company just because the company is right behind your house. A lot of students do this actually. They look for internship that is closer to home. There is no fault in that. I understand why you guys do that. But you need to see what kind of industry are you in? Okay. Is this internship going to help me? Will the internship give me exposure to what I need? So please look at this kind of elements when you're looking for internship later, because it really helps you once you are doing job hunting. So what happens to those who have already graduated? Okay, I have already done my internship. I didn't know at that point of time. So now I'm already a graduate. I cannot go for internship back. So what do I do? So that might be some of the question that you have. So what you can do is that you can go for upskilling courses or reskilling courses that is being offered by companies, by training providers. Okay, there's a lot of training providers out there, especially in Malaysia. Every state government has a training institution that can actually help you connect with industry. They have courses, they have reskilling courses, they have upskilling courses. Once you are done with the courses, it actually comes with job guarantee. So you can also go for that kind of courses. Okay, some of you might also ask me, ma'am, if I go for these courses, I don't get much salary. So why do I need to go for these courses? Okay, if I go for these courses, I earn 3,000. My friend goes to that particular, without going for that particular course, they still earn 3,000. So why do I need to go for this course? But you need to remember, your friend actually has a job and you do not. So you need that first step. You need that first connecting with industry, the first connect point with the industry. So these trainings are actually giving you the first connect point with the industry. So please do take advantage, even though the salary might not be much. So, but still, try it out. There's no harm in that. Okay, because most of these courses, they do not come with what you call any kind of agreement. So you are not born to this particular trainers. You are only born to work for 3 months and you're done. All right. Okay. Next, you can attend online courses. Can you go back the slide before?
Sorry, my bad.
That didn't yet. Okay, sorry. Okay. Next, you can attend online courses. For this one is relevant, most relevant for students who are still in campus. Okay, you can go for online courses and upgrade yourself in skills, especially those from the IT industry and other students who are looking forward to digital media and things like this. You can go for online courses that can actually give you insight, that actually can give you micro credentials and also can give you insights into that might look good on your resume since you're looking for a job with particular industry and things like that. Okay, and then we have another option is that we call co-op program. Okay, we in Malaysia, we do not have this much. Okay, co-op program is a program whereby you can work, learn, and what they call earn. Okay, so you are only in campus for a few months, you learn certain modules, and then you go to work, earn, and then you come back and you study again. Okay, in Malaysia, we do not have these courses much, but it is out there. So if you're from a foreign country, you can also look for this kind of options, which is what we call a co-op program. Okay. Okay, now we are done with building skills. Step 4, what do we know? Network with professionals. Okay, so this is very, very crucial for those who are in degree and master's level, because you guys are actually looking for jobs that are professional. Okay, we call it professional level jobs or executive level jobs. So when you're looking for executive level jobs, you need to understand that you guys only for executive level jobs, there is not much out there. So usually 80%, okay, this is a statistic, it says that 80% of the jobs, executive level jobs, are not actually advertised. So how do you get to know about this job? You need to attach yourself to professionals who are in the industry. So how do you attach yourself? You can attach the basic one is through LinkedIn. Please create LinkedIn account, especially if you are doing degree or masters and you're looking for a job later on. And also you can attend industrial events. Okay, so that is step 4. Very simple. You connect yourself with industry people. And then we move on step 5. Okay, we have done all we can do. Now we move on to step 5. You need to stay motivated. Okay, you need to apply for job. You need to connect yourself with industry. You need to go for interviews. These are things that you do on step 4. But in step 5, what you need to understand is that you need to keep yourself motivated. Okay, you need to set yourself achievable goals. And then you need to celebrate your accomplishment, even though it's a small thing. Okay, even getting micro credential, even getting your first job, it might not be where you want to be, but it is very important in building your career. Okay, we call it stepping stones. So please engage yourself, be excited, about your future, and then you guys should be okay. So whatever it is, go for it. Be happy with yourself. If you're not happy with yourself, find ways to get happy with yourself, because that is what is going to keep you going. Okay, so I think with that, we have covered all our 5 steps. So why do you need all these 5 steps? Because please, failing to plan is planning to fail. Okay, you need to understand that you need to be proactive in your approach for career planning, because if you're not proactive, you're not going to get your career of your choice. So everyone, please, those are the 5 steps. This is my sharing. So hope to see you guys again. So be happy, be proactive. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amita Govindan, Officer of Corporate Industrial and Services Unit from Politeknik Omar, Malaysia, for that very, very enlightening input on getting a head start on this cutthroat job hunting world. Have a plan and set your stepping stone as early as possible. That is my takeaway from Ms. Amita's session. Thank you so much again, Ms. Amita. Great talk, great input, priceless input. All right, thank you so much. See you guys. Sorry, see you around. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's not waste any more precious time. I hope you warm up and all gear up for the next session. It is now time to welcome Mr. Subhajit Mitra, Director, Talent Acquisition, Asia Pacific Carrier, and also his colleague, Ms. Ravinder Kaur, Head of Human Resources, Carrier, Singapore, Malaysia, and Brunei. Now, both of our speakers from Carrier will dig deep into what makes a winning candidate and how to excel your interview session. Ms. Subhajit and Ms. Ravinder, I'm so sorry. The stage is yours. Please welcome.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity, and we are glad to be speaking to people from the Politeknik who are looking at the industry for their future. We will start with a short video, and then we will have some basic pointers which hopefully can help all of you understand how to ace interviews, what it means sitting on the other side, and what typically your interviewer looks at. So it helps hopefully with all your preparations. So can we have the first video, please?
At Carrier, we are changing the world by making buildings and indoor environments healthier, safer, more sustainable, and more intelligent.
Carrier is changing the world by developing solutions that matter for people and our planet.
Carrier's industry-leading technologies, products, solutions, and services support a healthy, safe, sustainable, and intelligent cold chain at a time when it is needed most.
In the midst of the pandemic and also in the new normal, Carrier has consistently and rapidly churned out innovations that really help us address health and safety issues.
The greatest impact that Carrier is going to have is to improve the health, productivity, and cognitive functioning of our most important assets, human beings.
Carrier is changing the world by creating everyday products that influence the lives of everyday people.
We're so proud that we've helped to provide confidence for people to return to work, to school, really to life in the wake of the pandemic.
Hearing the feedback directly from the schools and the teachers saying that they feel safer in those spaces because of our products has been incredibly rewarding.
Carrier operates at a nexus of climate, digital, environment technologies, and will be at the forefront of defining the next era of a healthy, safe, sustainable, and intelligent cold chain network.
It's exciting to be working at a company that is actively a part of those solutions to kind of new and emerging issues.
It's gratifying to know that we're making a difference.
In the most literal and fundamental sense, we believe our mission is to make the world a better place. It's a huge honor.
It's an absolute honor for Carrier to be recognized by Fortune.
Thank you. Hopefully that provides a quick sneak preview to who we are and what Carrier stands for. Hopefully I'm audible. I'll start with a quick bit of introduction for myself and then followed by Ravinder. I lead the talent practice for APAC, which includes talent acquisition. So in a way, very uniquely positioned to understand what participants who are interviewees go through, what we look at. So hopefully this will be a very engaging conversation. I have been with Carrier for more than 12 years now in various roles. Right now I'm based in Singapore. Prior to this, I was with a company called Coca-Cola for almost 10 years. So that's a quick history to my current role and my career journey. I'll hand it over to Ravinder also for a quick introduction. Ravinder. Ravinder, you're on mute. Okay, I think there is some audio issues that Ravinder is facing. Ravinder, can you hear us? Okay, let's move on. When we get Ravinder back, we'll get her into the conversation. Can we have the slide, the one slide that we wanted to show on the screen? Thank you. So what we thought will be useful is to break this down from an interview perspective into 3 blocks. First, what are the basic things that we look at and some of the things that can help you prepare better. The second is, which is equally important to know what you're being assessed for, and there are some examples in the middle. And last but not the least, how do you close a conversation in an interview? And what are some of the things that typically a company will look at? So I'll start with the first basics. When you land up with an interview with a company, or even before that, when you look at a job posting or a requirement for a position that you want to apply, the first thing is to be very clear on how you want to make the opportunity work for you. Typically, an interview will give you an opportunity of 45 to 60 minutes. And how can you make this work for you? Now, there are some basic guidelines around this, which are not rocket science, but it's important to note. Number one, let's move this out of an interview scenario and look at any conversation that you have in your life as a stranger. When you have somebody joining your neighborhood in the society and you want to have a first conversation, or when you want to have a new friend and you want to have a conversation, what connects people? And important to note that you have to make it interesting. So it's up to you to understand what makes you interesting as a person and how do you communicate that in the form of an interview. Typically, an interview is a conversation. A lot of people forget that. It's important to ensure that it is kept at a conversation level where you are trying to tell people what you possess in terms of skills, competencies, knowledge, and what you can offer as part of the employment contract. Now, what helps here is preparation. And what do I mean by preparation? If you look at the middle segment of the slide, These are some of the pointers that can help you prepare. For example, do you have the right life experiences to share about things like working with people, or experiences where you can demonstrate that you have learned something new, something different? Or have you gone through experience where there was a problem that needed to be solved and you ended up solving the problem by breaking it down into parts? Or in many cases, and since the audience is primarily from Polytechnic, you will come into any interview setup with some existing knowledge on the technical side. Now, how do you demonstrate that? Through experiences that you have gone through, either as a student or as an intern or as a trainee. That is something that should be part of the preparation. Now, this requires practice. It is not something that comes naturally to everybody. Now, as you grow in your career, you will have real examples of giving interviews, but there is always a first time opportunity where you need to practice conversations around how do you demonstrate your positive attitude, learning ability, working with people, problem solving, and your technical ability. Now, I was listening attentively to the previous speaker, and she mentioned something around internships. The internships could be with companies, or it could be even mini projects that you do in your college, in your graduation school. How do you bring that to life is very important in an interview setup. How do you relate to those experiences? How do you help the interviewer understand what you have learned through those experiences is of critical importance when you present yourself as a candidate. Next point, and Ravinder, just a call out, if your audio is working, please let us know. I'll pull you in. Knowing about the company. So this was again touched upon by the previous speaker. There are various ways in which you can know the company. In today's digital age and world, you can go to the company website. That could be a first source of information. The second source is LinkedIn. Most companies will have a company profile on LinkedIn. That could be a second source. The third source, potentially job sites or social media sites, where companies will either post something about what's going on inside the company, or jobs, or even employee referrals on what employees are doing, what we are achieving, etc. A live demonstration is the video that we started with. That gives a lot of information about who Carrier is, what do we represent, what are some of our products, what are some of our services, etc. Now, that is very important to know before you apply for a job and before you get to an interview stage. Knowing about the company will help you present yourself better on what kind of jobs you would like to apply for, what kind of jobs are you interested in, and it essentially shows that you're ready to apply. Because one of the critical things that we assess on the company side is are students who are coming out of polytechnics, diploma schools, who otherwise have college education to back them, are they really ready to take on the industrial roles or job opportunities in the market? So that is essentially a summary of things that can help you. Now, the other piece that I would strongly advise everybody is how do you translate your day-to-day experiences into storytelling? Which means all of us go through many life experiences during our school days, college days, internship days. Can we codify that and create learning experiences in the form of stories that people can relate to? Let me give you a quick example. one basic question that most interviews start with is, tell me something about yourself. There are so many instances, irrespective of which company, what role you're applying for, where the first question is, why don't you introduce yourself, or why don't you tell me something about yourself? And there are few variations that we have seen while taking multiple interviews, thousands of interviews. There are some candidates who will tell us everything that is written in the CV. Now, that primarily is a waste of time because a CV is something that the interviewer hopefully has read through. There are other candidates who will give very deep insights about their growing years experience, what they have learned as a student, where they belong to, what are their core values. And in a CV, which is of 2 pages or 3 pages, or in today's world, probably 1 page, you cannot write everything about yourself. So the question that you need to ask is, am I ready with an answer which is, number one, interesting, number two, help the interviewer know me better, and number three, something that is not necessarily written in my CV directly. Now that preparation can be done very easily. I'll give you another example, and this was something which the previous speaker also covered. One of the very common questions that is asked in interviews is, tell me about your strengths. Now, if you are sitting on the other side of the table and you're trying to assess a candidate, it doesn't matter whether you're saying communication is your strength, or working with people is your strength, or for that matter, anything else. What really matters is, why are you saying what you are saying? Are you able to back it up with the right example from your life experience? Do you sound genuine? Are you able to represent yourself as somebody who is a good communicator? So, in short, what I'm saying is, what you say your strength is doesn't matter. How do you represent that as a strength is what matters. Same goes for things like, tell me about an instance where you had a difficult challenge and you're able to overcome it. Same goes for questions around, tell me what are some of your weaknesses or opportunities for development. If you take a step back and look at these questions, there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. And it will come repeatedly as you apply for more jobs, as you get into more interview setups. These questions are going to keep repeating itself. So, as somebody who is interested in a job, in a role, in a company, are you prepared with answers which is interesting, which helps represent yourself, which translates into a life experience? Those fundamental basics will remain the same. So, as an interviewer on the other side, what I'm trying to continuously assess is, are you able to provide experiences which can translate into your job if I choose you as a candidate? That's called transferable skills. The same applies for technical knowledge as well. If you're talking about technical education, are you able to give examples which tells me as an interviewer that here is a person who can transfer prior experience into my organization if I were to give the job to that person? So it's important to relate life experiences and demonstrate that you can use those experiences in a job environment or a company environment or in a work environment. So that we believe is of critical importance, especially all the students who are coming out of polytechnics, technical colleges. Do they have the basic acumen of relating their own experience into job. Now, the last piece that I would like to touch upon is around situations where the interviewer is giving you the opportunity to ask something. Now, before you get into an interview situation, it is important to know what will you be asking. Will you ask about the company's culture? Will you ask about the challenges in the role that you have applied for? Will you ask about the top priorities of the company? Will you ask about the strategic focus? So it's important to think in advance on what are the key questions that you want to ask the interviewer, which gives you opportunity to listen to the interviewer talking about anything that you want to ask. Now, this one becomes important because it also gives you the opportunity to show the interviewer that you have done your research about the company, you are asking something relevant to the job, and in short, you are actually making sure that you demonstrate that this is important for you. Now, I will take a stop here and I would request if the second video can be played. Thank you. And can we go back to the slide again? Excellent. So that again was a quick demonstration of how you can find things that are important to a company or organization. And in that sense, what are the type of questions that you can potentially ask? Now, the previous video, of course, the video is from Carrier, but it tells you what is important to Carrier when it comes to ESG goals. I don't know how many of you are familiar with ESG. Let me spell it out. It stands for environment, social, and governance. For many companies, this is a critical theme. So first, have we done our research to understand what is critical for a company in today's age and world? If we have done that, the next step is, do we know what is important to the company? Couple of examples from the video. If you talk about a technical example, Carrier is looking at decarbonization as a concept. Now, that's a vast area. That is something that you can easily research on. That is also something which tells you what is important to the company. That also tells you whether your interest lies in a company whose goals are in line with XYZ. Now, moving from that to something which is more to do with people. The video talks about employee engagement and what is our goals around employee engagement. It also talks about investing in people through what Carrier calls as employee scholar program. Now, we are one of the only companies which actually provides our own employees with the opportunity to grow their knowledge, grow their skills, grow their education by investing in them. And these are all university, college, graduate, and postgraduate programs sponsored by the company. So that tells you a lot about how invested a company is, about people, people development, people processes. So these are opportunities for many people who are coming out of colleges to learn more about companies. First, it gives a roadmap to how do you research and understand companies more. Second, it helps you assess whether your interest lies in similar nature of companies. Third, it also tells you how the role that you are applying for or how a job that has been posted in an external website links up to the larger goals of the company. Now, these are choices that everybody makes, and it's a competitive world out there, which is why throughout our conversation, we keep talking about how do you generate interest, how do you relate to life experiences, and how do you prepare well for an interview, because it is a competitive world. It is yours interview versus maybe another 10 or 12 or 15 people applying for the same job. So chances are very high that if you prepare well, you will stand better than others when it comes to the overall interview assessment, right? So with that, we will move to the final video, and that gives you a sneak peek about what our interns or college graduates who have joined Career as their first experience, work experience, have to say about the company and the experience that students go through when they're working with Career. And then after a few pointers, we can open it up for any questions that you may have. So can we have the third video?
Confidence is at the heart of everything we do at Carrier. Our systems fill buildings and homes with healthy, clean air. We detect and put out fires and help people stay safe and secure inside. Our innovations keep foods and life-saving medicines cold and fresh until they reach those who need them. At Carrier, we create solutions to help you build a brighter future. Inspiring confidence. Carrier.
Thank you. Can we go back to the slide again? Now, what this video tells you is the type of businesses that Carrier does. What it helps you as somebody who is in the market is which type of business are you interested in? And if you look at large organizations, organizations with different businesses, it's important to understand which part of the business you want to belong to as your starting point in a journey. And that's where the differentiation starts on which roles do I want to apply for versus which roles I am very clear that I do not want to apply for. And it's important at individual level to have those differences clear in your mind. So I circle back to the basics and link it up for you. As you start preparing yourself for a career of 20, 25, 30 years, it is very important that you represent yourself well. That's number one. And how you represent yourself well is by translating your life experiences with transferable skills, transferable knowledge, and the right stories around those opportunities that you have seen in your life in an interview setup. It is a conversation mode, so it is important that you come prepared for those conversations. Second, do your research and understand what the company is all about, what are the businesses, It's easily available in the digital world. And learn more about the job that you're applying for. Which part of the business does the job belong? Is this something that is of interest to you? Right. Third, there are some basic questions, and I'll repeat those. Tell me something about yourself. Tell me about a challenge that you have faced. Tell me about a steep learning curve opportunity. Tell me about your strengths. Tell me about your weaknesses. These questions requires preparation because everybody has an answer. So if you want to stand out in a crowd, it is important that you're able to relate your life experiences to back up your answers for each of these questions. And last but not the least, showing that you're ready. Now, showing that you're ready could be through demonstration of projects that you have done, assignments that you have done, internships that you have done. It could also come from your interest in the company based on the research that you're doing and based on the question that you ask to an interviewer, demonstrating that you have deep knowledge about the company based on your digital research. So those are some of the summary points we would like to present to you today. Of course, we wanted this to be as conversational as possible. So we are leaving a good amount of time for any questions that you have. And we'll be happy if the host helps us have a conversation around any question that you want to throw open through either the chat or any other forum. So with that, I'll hand it over back to the organizers.
Thank you so much, Mr. Subhajit, on your session. Let's entertain some questions, shall we? It seems like we have few questions from our viewer. Can we pull up the first question? Okay, this is a question from Asmawi. He asked, after my graduation from diploma level, should one continue to degree or straight to work market? Are there some employer tend to seek the experienced employer rather than fresh grads? What do you think about this, Mr. Subhajit? Fresh grad versus experienced candidates.
Yeah, very interesting questions. And similar to some of the examples that I mentioned, tell me something about yourself, tell me something about your strengths. There is no right or wrong answer to this. The first question that you need to ask yourself is, what does the next steps look like for you as an individual? And that should give you insights on whether you should continue your education journey, or do you want an industry experience, or do you want industry experience followed by back to education? So there are a couple of things that matters here. One, what is your aspiration? Now, not many people are very clear on their aspiration. So you need to put deep thought to understand what is the aspiration. Second, a good assessment or a fair assessment of your ability. Third, how agile you are. And agility becomes very important because if you decide to step into the industry with the understanding that you will go back for higher studies after a few years, there are practical things that you need to consider. Number one, when you're in the industry, you start to get paid. When you go back for education, you have to pay for your education. Makes a big difference. Now, have you thought through these stages before you decide, right? So I would say aspiration, ability, agility is one construct that you can use. Now, ability comes in various forms, but when you're at the college or at the final semester level, I think ability translates into a couple of things which are very simple. Number one, are you ready for the industry? And are you ready for the industry doesn't have a clear yes, no answer. It depends on your experience. Have you done internships? Have you done projects? Have you built the networks? Now, again, my previous speaker spoke about network. and she referred more on the social side, LinkedIn side. I would say there's another smarter way to network and probably far more effective. You will have enough opportunities during your education at a diploma level or a polytechnic level where either you will have a guest lecturer coming in, or you will have webinars, or you will have small projects, or you will have internships, all of which will have a industry interface. If you're lucky, your school or college or institute will also participate in some industry body. The question that you need to answer is, are you enterprising enough to have used these opportunities to network? Social networking is great, but it's far more effective when it is in person and personal. And no better opportunity to build those networks when you are in a situation where you're working on an assignment or a project or an internship, because then it is not restricted to only who your supervisor is or project guide is, but you can use your supervisor or project guide to look at their networks, to start getting introduced to their networks. And that starts building a multiplier effect. And that gives you a very good self-assessment of whether you are ready for the industry or not. But again, look, it varies from one individual to. So you need to decide what your larger calling is. If it is education, so be it. If it is industry, great, you're most welcome. But you should be clear in your mind what you want to do next. And the answer will not be the same for everybody. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a very good point. Mr. Subhajit, you decide whether you are ready for the real world or not. All right. Oh, we have another question coming in. This is from Mio. He asks, what personal qualities should one have to do well in an interview? What are the personalities the employers look for, Mr. Subhajit?
Look, I can talk about all the good things in life, okay? The reality is there is no top 5, top 6, top 10, top 20 good qualities. Far more important for me when I look at an as a candidate on the other side, if I look at a candidate and assess, what's far more important is how genuinely the person is representing himself or herself in an interview. Are you bringing your whole self to the interview? Are you being honest and truthful about the answers instead of trying to be the best? Because there's nothing called the best, right? So that's why we emphasized a lot on how do you bring your real life experiences into an interview conversation? Because if I'm sitting on the other side and taking your interview, it tells me, number one, that you're a genuine person. Number two, it tells me that you can relate your life experiences back to work experience. So transferable skills. So those are the things which are very important for me as an industry veteran. Rather than quality A or B, frankly, it really doesn't matter as long as you are genuinely representing yourself. And that's where preparation becomes important, because it requires a degree of self-awareness. And you can actually talk to your professors, educators. Self-awareness is not easy. It is a very, I would say, high impact leadership ability. Top-notch leaders have a high level of self-awareness. So the more aware you are about yourself, the better you represent in an interview, the stronger are your chances of converting an interview into a job opportunity. So look at it that way. Yeah, thank you.
All right, my takeaway from your point is you need to be genuine enough of yourself. You need to be transparent enough of yourself. And you need to know who you are for you to be able to sell yourself to your potential employer. All right, very well. Do we have time for a second for our third question? Yes, we do have. This is from Durgai Ravin. Hello, hi Durgai. So his question is, good day, sir. I am Miss Durgai Ravin as a lecturer from Politeknik Sultan Idris Shah. Hello, we have a lecturer as one of our viewer. So her question is, how can students create a portfolio during industrial attachment that is equivalent to certain years of experience? Let's talk about the technical aspect of this, Mr. Subhajit.
Thank you, Ms. Durgai, for the question. Great question. So I'm assuming, based on your question, that somebody already has an industrial attachment. Now, that's a perfect opportunity to look at what you are learning. Because when you're looking at creating a portfolio, the strongest part of the portfolio is what we have learned in a live project environment inside an industry. And the company actually doesn't matter. What matters is your learning through those experiences. So what I would advise is first, the students need to break down the industrial attachment into smaller components of learning modules, which would be their experience. So it is experiential learning, and that should be part of the portfolio that somebody builds when it comes to both technical ability as well as demonstration of how good you are as a candidate. Now, this can be easily done because when you are attached to a industrial body, or if you are in a company for internship, you're going to get a project. The project will have multiple layers. It will have interface with multiple stakeholders, multiple people. You will have problems to solve. You will have access to either product or technology or service or all three of them. So there are enough variations that you go through as an experience, which will help you build a solid portfolio to demonstrate that you have the experience to be considered for a job. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the answer, and I hope it is clear now for you, Ms. Durgai. I can tell that you care enough for your students, to think about this question. We have one more question. We have time for one more question. This is from my TC. So the question is it true that the first impression, you know already that person is going to be hired? Is it true, Mr. Subhajit? From the first step, from the first moment.
Sounds to me like love at first sight, right? Now,
Love at first sight.
I leave that to all of you. What I can tell you is go back to the first point on the first slide. It talks about how can you make your 45 to 60 minutes count. So it's not about the first impression at all. It's about the total of 45 to 60 minutes, sometimes half an hour, sometimes 90 minutes. But an interviewer will always reflect on what has been the experience of those 60 minutes. So it is not about first impression. There's a reason why today I did not talk about uniform, discipline, wearing a tie, wearing a jacket. I'm assuming that in today's day, age, and world, we are all smart enough to understand that if you're applying for, let's say, a startup company with a few hundred or even less employees, the culture will be very different. If you're applying for a Fortune 500 company like Carrier with 120 years history, the culture will be very different. So my job is not to tutor or lecture on dress code, discipline, being on time, etc. That's a given. And that level of self-awareness is at a very basic level. So don't focus on first impressions. It doesn't matter, honestly. Focus on the content and the substance. That's what matters in a job interview, I would say. Yeah.
So make that half an hour or 45 minutes count, because that is what most important compared to what you dress. But dressing up is very important still, but lasting the impression throughout the 45 minutes is extremely crucial. We got that loud and clear. All right, that's all the time that we have, unfortunately, Mr. Subhajit. We hope that we have longer time to pick on your brain. With that, we end the sharing slot by Mr. Subhajit Mitra. He is currently the Director of Talent Acquisition, Asia Pacific Carrier. Thank you so much again for your time. Thank you so much again for your input, your tips and your tricks and your secrets. We hope to be able to see you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
On behalf of Ms. Ravinder Kaur, she would like to apologize that she could not be here until the end of the session due to some technical problems on her behalf. We regret that happened. Hopefully, we are able to have her on board with us anytime soon. Don't worry about that, Ms. Ravinder. We hope we are able to get you on board in near future. Thank you so much again. All right, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. A quick housekeeping reminder. We are going to have the QR code for the registration and also for your certificate at the end of the webinar. So please stay tuned. Please scan the QR code or click on the link. The link will be available in our comment section, and the link will send you directly to the registration and also to for your e-certificate. All right, so please don't miss out. And I would like to remind you that the link for the registration will be active for the next 1 hour. Wow. All right. Okay, so please don't miss out because you will be awarded with the e-cert. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come. We've had some guests from Politeknik. Bagan Datuk, I've heard that all of you are in the seminar room watching this session live right now. Hello, hi, Bagan Datuk. How are you? Drop us a comment. Are you enjoying it? Are you learning something? I hope that all of us hope that you learned that and you have gained knowledge here and there. We have speakers sharing their secrets, sharing their tips since 2 o'clock. And we are gearing for our last speaker who will be talking to us from Kuala Lumpur. His name is Mr. The Dashing, may I say, Mr. Khairel Akmal Idris. He is currently the team leader from Cloud Infrastructure Service Malaysia. So he will be on board with us today as the last speaker for our Naked Truth webinar. Mr. Khairel Akmal Idris will be sharing with us his insights and also personal experience on what makes an outstanding candidate. Well, basically, he's going to spill the tea on how to turn yourself into a pisang goreng panas in your respective industries. All right, Mr. Khairel, before you take the stage, I've known and I've been informed that you are also responsible to carry out interviews for talent hunting in your company. Is it true, Mr. Khairel?
Yes, I am.
I see. So I'm sure that this next question, you've asked this in your respective candidates many times. And I've heard that this is usually the favorite question asked by interviewer. So I'm going to turn the table on you now. So Mr. Khairel, tell us about yourself. And with that, the stage is all yours. Please welcome Mr. Khairel Akmal Idris, team leader from Cloud Infrastructure Service Malaysia. Please welcome.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much to our moderator, Ms. Noor Shahzwani. And I have shared my slide. I believe you guys are able to see it. Yes. Please type in the comment whether you can see my slide or not. Okay. And again, first and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to Politeknik Ungku Omar, especially to English Language Unit and CISEC Unit for organizing this wonderful webinar. The head of department, Puan Haniza Norlin Mat Yusof, the project manager, Mr. Muhammad Zaki Yahya. Thank you for inviting me to be part of the Naked Truth 2.0 webinar. And I would also like to say thank you to each and every one of you, who are joining us today live, and also those who are gonna watch us through the web recording of this webinar. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two in this webinar, and hopefully it will be beneficial to all the participants today. And as you can see in my slide, the topic that has been given to me is the telltale, really real stories. So not just any story. They asked me to share about really real stories. And most of the good stories goes like this or something like this. But for this session, the stories goes like this. Okay, so if you are wondering why I've been given the opportunity to share about my experience, please allow me to briefly introduce myself. My name is Khairel Akmal Idris, and currently I'm working with Entity Data Business Solution MSU Sdn Bhd. Yes, it's quite lengthy, but the short name, we call it NDB SMSC. And currently I'm holding a position as a team lead for Cloud Infrastructure Services in Malaysia. And we are handling around 9 service areas and consists of around 45 engineers in my team. And I'm more towards people pillar, so I involved in recruitment, involved in interview for any open position that we have in our team, and also involved in appraisal, disciplinary administration, team development, and also skills empowerment. Okay. And prior to that, in a span of 16 years, I've held a few positions such as researcher, developer, customer service analyst, customer service specialist, system admin, data center support, storage engineer, Wintel engineer, global IT engineer, Citrix engineer. And then, Alhamdulillah, I've got the opportunity to work in a lot of companies, and some of the companies, as you can see here, and most of them are MNCs. And a key summary of my introduction would be I have attended a lot of interviews. I have succeeded in most of the interviews, Alhamdulillah. And currently, as mentioned by our moderator, I am one of the interviewer for open position that we have in our team. So I believe because of I have the exposure to be the interviewer and also the interviewee, maybe that is one of the reasons why I was invited to share some of the tips, and perhaps it will be beneficial to all of you today. Okay, and based on my track record, it shows that Alhamdulillah, I'm able to create a repeated success pattern. So basically, at least for me, the recipe works. So that is what I'm going to share with all of you today. And before I proceed further, I would like to give a disclaimer that this is all based on my personal experience. So it is okay if you don't agree with it. Okay, and it is a personalized recipe. It is based on the information and also the method that I've acquired, that I've learned, and then I compile it, and then it just to my preference. So I have performed my try and adjust. So and since I am in IT industry, so it will be biased toward IT industry, but I believe it will be still applicable to all other industries as well. And my first disclaimer is I don't have all the answers, so there is no magic potion. I'm just share my experience. Okay. Before we proceed further, I have a question to all the participants today. I hope that you could comment, put in your answer in the comment. The question is, if you are able to turn back time, what are you going to do? So please type in your answer. If you're able to turn back time, what are you going to do? Zulhadi says, study harder. Nice, nice. Okay, interesting. Okay, so now I'm going to reveal my secret. You can call it secret recipe, my secret recipe. And this is my personal secret over the years. And for this session, I'm going to share 5 tips to be in the wanted list. Okay. Okay, now I have a second question to you. And please put in your answer in the comment section as well. The second question is, who is the most important person in your resume? Okay, please key in your answer. Love me says myself. Cool. Okay, I notice that most of you answered myself. Okay. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Guys are awesome. And the answer is the most important person is your audience. Your audience is the most important person in your resume. Okay, and so the first tip is not only you have to write your resume, you have to craft your resume. So tip number one, you have to craft your resume. First, you need to understand the flow. Okay, resume basically is a tool for company to filter their candidates, and the main purpose of it is to give you a ticket to be in interview. To be in an interview. So your resume will go through a few filtering process. So basically, based on this chart, basically you have to craft your resume to cater for around 2 or 3 audience: HR, technical people, and also the hiring manager. Okay, and in some cases, HR can pass it over straight away to hiring managers. But since we are talking about my experience, I would say that it will go through the technical people. Okay, so initial filtering will be done by HR. Bear in mind that for any open position, they have to scan a lot of applications. They have to go through a lot of resumes in order to get the list of potential candidate and to send it over to the hiring manager. And most of HR, based on my experience, most of HR don't have a direct exposure or don't have a direct experience to that position. So they will filter your resume based on few key points given by the hiring manager. So if we help the HR team, if we help them to identify the key points that they use to filter resume, and if you're able to help them to identify those key points in our resume, so basically it will assist to increase our chance, to increase our probability to be selected as one of the potential candidates. And my next question would be, how could we get those key points? Where can we find those key points? Perhaps you guys could answer it in the comment section. Where can we get those key points? Anyone want to try? Those key points, they have made it available to us, and they have put it in the job description. So it is important for you to go through the job description, especially for responsibilities and requirements part. So you have to go through that and try to identify the key points, and then you need to use those key points and put it in your resume along with justification to justify your claims. Okay, so basically, if you are able to do that, you might have you might have the opportunity to be selected as the potential candidate and send it over to technical team. Technical team, we go through the key point along with the justification and send it to the hiring manager. Then you have the potential to be called for an interview. Okay. So basically, you have to craft your resume based on the applied position, and you need to use key points that you got from the JD, and you can try to make it easier for the HR to scan through your resume. And just want to share, in my hand, I have around 20 sets of resume. I would say throughout my career, I have from second, I have around 20 sets of resume, and we need to craft it based on the position that we are applying for. And then for technical people and also for the hiring manager, you need to justify your claims. So not only to state the key points, you have to justify your key points, and then it will be Even better if you support it with with evidence. Okay, and also you need to show your value. And it will increase the possibility for them to invite you for the interview session. And when we see show your value, what does it mean? It means that your claims and justification in your resume must show the value that is needed for that position. So basically, what can you bring to the company? Something like that. Okay. So, and now tips number 2. Increase your points or prevent any potential deduction. So basically, you need to know how to attack and how to defend. Because as mentioned by our previous panel, you only have around 1 hour to share, to tell them about yourself. So you need to be wise. So you must know how to attack, when to attack, and how to defend. Okay. So now it brings to my third question. Have you identified what are your selling points? Okay. And for this, for number 1, I would say, please remember, don't be silent, but don't say too much. This is one of the methods to protect, to defend, and also to attack. So don't be silent, but don't say too much. Saying that you are a fun person and you like to play pranks on your friend doesn't help to add any advantage to get the job. Unless if you are applying for a TV game show or whatever, entertainer, then it will be a different story. But and then saying that you are not a morning person and you always miss morning classes because you overslept does not help to increase your value when you're applying for job. So you have to think before you talk. Only say what is necessary to increase your chance. Okay. And point number 2 is sell what they need, not what you have. Okay. It is basically it is a basic supply and demand. The value does not base on what you have, but it based on whether what you have can supply to the demand. So, for example, saying that you are a good cook in your resume or in the interview when you're applying for engineer position, it actually doesn't bring much value. It is good, but it doesn't bring much value. Okay. So next is please remember that you are dealing with human. Human can create perception based on their values or their personalities. For example, if you are a Chelsea fan, it will be easier for you to click with another Chelsea fan, even though you are a complete stranger, because you have a common value. Okay, so and it could be a double-edged sword because it can give advantage or disadvantage. So you have to be alert. You have to try to understand their personality, values, and behavior. Okay. And number 4 is don't lie. It's a no-no. For me personally, I believe that how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you lie in one point during the interview, so there is a high chances that you are lying in your resume, in other point in your resume, and there is a possibility that you might lie when you're working as well. So I would suggest that it is recommended for you to design your selling point and so that you know how to sell yourself during the interview. Okay. And tips number 3, you have to leave your mark. Okay, so basically for this one, you have to be unique, but on something that could be easily accepted by the community or the environment. Please make sure that it is something positive and something that brings value. When we say leave your mark, be unique, it is not you have to dress like a Lady Gaga when you attend an interview. It is not that you attend an interview with a green colored hair. It's not that unique, but you have to bring something unique and bring value to the position that you are applying, or to the company that who's gonna receive you if you got the position. So the first point that I'm going to share is you have to be yourself. You technically, each of us are already unique because you are the only you. So technically we are already unique. So just be real. You don't have to be too outstanding because nobody is perfect. Sometimes perfect triggers another curiosity, at least for me. And but it doesn't mean that you don't have to improve. Okay. And point number two is you have to be confident. They already saw your potential. That is why you are invited for the interview session. So you just have to be confident. But you have to be memorable. You need to find ways to give impact or spark. Just to share one of my experience in one of my previous interview, the interviewer asked me to explain about something, and I noticed there is a whiteboard in the meeting room. So instead of explaining it, I draw a diagram and I'm explaining that diagram instead. And alhamdulillah, I got that job. And my third point is you have to be intelligently honest. Previously, I believe you have heard about brutally honest, the term brutally honest. But for this time, you have to be intelligently honest. You need to share necessary info only. You have to be smart. Do not trigger any unnecessary inquiries. Okay. And another point that I want to highlight, that we are looking for someone that we can work with, not only the employee, not only the interviewees, the interviewer as well. So during the interview session, it is not just to get to know whether you are capable to do that job, but we also would like to know whether we can work along with you. Okay. So tips number 4, small things that give a big impact. Okay. And those are the point number 1 is the small thing that I normally do is I will always acknowledge the feedback during the interview, especially. I will acknowledge the feedback. For example, I will smile and nod, as simple as that. And then point number 2 is I will always bring a paper and notepad and take a note during an interview. If you notice, in my hand I have a pen too. So I always bring a paper, a notepad, and take note during an interview. Okay. And point number 3 is I will repeat some of their points. And okay, for this one, I will open to the crowd. Why do we need to? Why did I choose to repeat some of their points? Can someone answer? Do you guys have any answer to that? Why do I choose to repeat some of their points? Okay, please type in your answer in the comment. Okay. For me, the reason why I repeat some of their points is actually that is how I'm trying to sell my value. I'm trying to say that what your feedback matters. I'm serious. So that is how I show that value, by repeating some of their points, to give an confirmation, evidence during the interview that your feedback matters to me. I'm serious to apply this position. Okay. Okay, awesome. And point number 4 is you need to relate the answers to your selling points. In the earlier slide, I mentioned that you have to identify your selling point. And then, as we all know, during the interview, we will be bombarded with a lot of questions. So while answering those questions, please remember to relate it back to your selling point, not just answering the question, but you have to insert your values into it as well. Okay, and earlier, I've asked you this question. If you're able to turn back time, what are you going to do? So let's say if you got this question during an interview, would you still want to answer this with the same answer that you answered earlier, or you gonna give a different answer now? Please answer it in the comment. Would you give a different answer, or you would still give the same answer that you answered earlier? For example, I noticed something about redo the SPM. Okay, still the same answer. Good. Let's go higher. Different. Okay, good. Thank you for your feedback. You guys are awesome. So now tips number 5. I'm gonna share a few unconventional interviews and some of unconventional questions during interviews. We are aware that most of the interviews that we have is face-to-face, maybe 2-3 panels with the interviewees. And now after COVID era, we have online interview. So these are some of the I'm going to share some of the interviews, some of the unconventional interviews. But before that, question number 4, please let us know, what is your biggest fear during the interview? Okay, please put in your answer in the comment. What is your biggest fear during the interview? The interviewers. Not able to talk back because of nervous anxiety. The interviewer don't understand me. Interesting. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. So in some of my in my past experience, other than a face-to-face interview, online interview, I also have experience in group interview, where the panel will ask around 5 candidates. All 5 candidates have to answer the same question in the same room. So personally, I don't like that kind of interview, to be honest. And in one of my other interview is it is a group interview as well. We have been split into 2 groups, and we have to do each group have to do their presentation and also internal group discussion. And then in the second part of the interview, they combine those 2 groups, and then we have another discussion in a bigger group. So that one is quite interesting. but it take one whole day just for the interview. And then we also have some special interview. For example, we have one open position that requires programming knowledge. So we have set an interview. We give a few days before the interview. We ask that person to write a code and then explain that code during the interview. And then we also have a few days before the interview, we ask one of these candidates to prepare a presentation slide, and she need to present during the interview. Okay. And next, other than the usual question, tell me about yourself. What is your weakness? What is your strength? Those normal questions. There are few brain game question as well. And I personally asked this question during my interview session. So I'm going to leave this question to you guys. And if you guys have the answer, please write it down. So for this question, you have 3 switches outside the room. One of the 3 switches is for bulb in the room, and you cannot see whether the bulb is on or off until you enter the room, and there is no one else to help you. So how do you want to identify which switch trigger that bulb? Okay, so maybe you can put in, you can try to answer this. And if you guys watch Alice in the Borderland, if I'm not mistaken, in season 1, they have in one of the game, they use this question. Okay. Okay. So with that, and for me, the reason why I like this kind of question is because it would be a general question, and it is even, and it is a fair field to evaluate the candidate. Because normally when we go through a CV, when we go through a resume, the question will be based on someone's experience. But if we ask a general question like this, it would be a fair assessment, I would say, to evaluate a certain candidate for a position. So that's why I like this kind of question. So with that, I end my session, and thank you so much, and thank you for your participation, for answering all the questions, and hope you learned something from this session. So I'll pass it over to our moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Khairel, for that engaging input on what it takes to be a standout interviewer candidates and what goes behind the closed door of an interview session. We do have time for a quick Q&A session. Shall we entertain the question, Mr. Khairel?
Okay.
All right. Let's pull up the first question. So this is from Rubish. Rubish asked, good day, sir. Rubish is apparently an PO student. He asked, does the certificate that we receive during our school days, for example, in curriculum activities, matters in a resume? What do you think, Mr. Khairel?
Okay.
What's your take on this?
Again, another disclaimer, this is my personal experience and this is my personal opinion. I would say it depends on the position that you're applying for. Let's say if you are a fresh grad, so you don't have much experience, you don't have working experience. So basically, whatever information, whatever supporting documents, whatever supporting values that you have, you have to put it in, because it depends on the position that you're applying for, and it also depends on what that company need. For example, this might, for some people, working part-time as a cashier in a convenience store might not bring value that much. But if you compare someone who are working as a cashier during semester break versus those who are spending their time playing games, watching Netflix during semester break, which one brings more value?
Sure.
Okay. So, and also for those who did not participate much, don't have much engagement during the school days, and that person don't have a good result compared to someone who are very active and have a quite good result. So which one brings value? So it tells all the points, everything that you put in your resume, it could be translated into new information, I would say. So that would be my answer.
So every bit counts, whether or not, whether you are working as a part-timers or whether you are the secretaries for chess club back in school, those counts, yeah, Mr. Khairel?
For me, yes, because we are trying to hire someone to be working with us for, we're expecting them to be with us for quite a number of time. But to do the assessment, we only have around 1 hour to do that assessment. So every bit counts.
Every bit counts, ladies and gentlemen. You heard that from Mr. Khairel himself. Okay, we have a question from Asmawi. Asmawi, hang on. We've lost the question. Okay, so he asked, in your opinion, is it the lack of market for work, or is it graduates' own ability to market themselves to the employers that contribute to high rates of graduates' employability? Unemployment, unemployment. Wow, we need a in-depth market analysis for this question.
So I believe this question need to be asked to minister or something.
Parliament level. But in your own industry, what is your take on graduates' unemployment?
Okay. Based on my experience, it the candidates' ability to sell themselves to sell their values to the company would be a big role as well. And then how they show how mature themselves in interview would play a role as well, because as I said earlier, we are not taking interns that gonna leave us after 3-4 months. We are taking someone who will be taking part of responsibility in a company. So if someone is playful, it doesn't make sense for us to give that kind of responsibility to that person. So graduates need to equip themselves with the correct skill as well.
You touched on a very good point just now, Mr. Khairel, about industrial training and on internship. Those are actually not just suka-suka 3 months of play period. Those are actually very, very crucial because there could be a chance for you to get absorbed into the company. Is it not, Mr. Khairel?
True. For my in my company, in my team, we do have academy program. We are taking interns and also trainees. But the main intention when we take the interns, we are planning to absorb them as part of the team members. If they are able to show during the internship period, if they're able to show their capability, we are more than happy to absorb them as one of the team members.
That is also very interesting because the majority of our viewers are final semester students of Polytechnic and also university students. So they are in the stage of looking for a prospect internship company. So what is your advice for them?
Okay. First, In today's session, we have shared, all the panels have shared a lot of information, tips and tricks, and I believe in your study as well. Lecturer have shared about how to prepare yourself for an interview for the work life. You have to take that seriously. Because when I go through an interview, especially with the fresh grads, as some of them, I would say is not serious during the interview. Maybe they still wearing the student cap. So I would suggest for you to try to learn and switch the cap, because you are joining the working environment already. So you have to switch cap.
I see. Take it seriously, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, take your internship seriously. Okay, those are not just for fun. 3 periods of fun is actually a stepping stone for your real life working life after this. All right, we have a question from Love Me. So he asked, as a fresh grad, do they have the can they question about the salary based on their skills, or they do not have that? They should not be asking that as a fresh grad.
Okay, so as a fresh grad, again, my personal opinion, my personal take on this. As a fresh grad, if you're asking about salary during an interview, especially if you are demand for higher salary during an interview, it doesn't show good value, I would say. You may ask that question with HR, because normally when we engage, you will go through HR. You can ask the HR for that. And if you are selected for the first round, for example, and for the first round of the interview, before the next round, maybe you can ask that question to the HR. But fresh grad asking or demanding about the salary, if you're trying to sell something, you need to bring value. So if you would demand higher salary, you need to bring something on the table. So if you just bring your CGPA without working experience, but you demand for higher salary, if you are hiring someone, would you hire that guy? So
All right, fair enough. Yes, you can ask, you can inquire about the salary offered to you, but read the room. Is it true, Khairel?
yes.
Read the room.
Not during the interview lah.
Not on the first hour of the interview. All right.
Yes.
This one is a very interesting question from Akid. He asked, Mr. Khairel, tell us about your worst experience with your candidate ever, please. The candidates from hell.
I will try to filter as much as possible, because this is a recording and accessible to public. One of my experiences during the interview, online interview, they did not fully prepared, and then there is a lot of disturbance. Someone passed by, and that guy totally he is not able to, totally distracted. He's not able to continue with the interview, and we have to postpone the interview because of his inability to focus for the interview. That one. And there is one other candidates, and this okay, for example, for this particular situation, one of the interviewing panel is from Europe, and the position that he's applying is a global position, but his English usage is how could I say it?
Poor.
It's not it's not up to the par.
Poor.
Yes,
Up to the par.
and yes, and that panel from Europe have to say that if you are comfortable to use your mother tongue language, please do so. Up to that extent. So
That is a good that is a very interesting experience. What do you think about, or what is your intake? What is your take about a candidate that has it all, very impressive on the resume, but they do not have what it takes to sell it in the boardroom of the interview room? What is your take on this kind of candidate?
okay, interesting. Again, it depends on the position. It's in some position that when that position have a capability to allow a junior, have a room for a person to grow, then we are okay to take someone that have a potential, but we need to put in some work to groom him up. But in some position, we can't afford to take that chance. So it um it's how to say this, it is sad to see good people, but they are not able to sell themselves during the interview.
I think
And
that
that is
answers. Yeah, I think that answered Amira's question, because she asked, is it important for us to speak fluently in an interview, even if our resume has it all? So I think that one answered
yes.
your question, Amira. Yes, you still need to
Yeah.
sell yourself, even though your resume is very, very impressive.
And that is why
Okay.
it is good to prepare yourself, uh, prepare the bullets before you go for an interview. You don't have to be totally fluent, but you have to be confident when you talk during the interview.
I see. Talking about the current situation of online interview right now, what must a candidate prepare before they go on an online interview? Should they make sure of all the documents needed are available in soft copies, or what is your take on this one?
Okay. For the document, let's say if the interviewer asks for it, or the HR asks for it, yes, you have to prepare it. But normally, during my online interview session, uh, we what we expect is you know that you're going to go for an interview, so please prepare your environment for the interview. Don't don't take your interview session in a public area where you can see someone walking by and with a lot of noise, and then you are taking your interview in your living room where your family members pass by at the back and you are distracted. So you have to prepare your environment. If you are not able to prepare for a planned activity such as the interview, so we could translate that: first, you are not serious; second, you might do that. If we give you an opportunity to be part of the team members, you might do that. You will not plan well in the activities that we assigned you in. So it tells it tells something.
All right, fair enough. We have a question from this room. So they're very curious about the reality of about head hunting world. What it takes to be headhunted. What can they do to boost themselves up so they could be recruited or they could be headhunted? What is your tips or tricks on this, Mr. Khairel?
Sorry, can you repeat again the question about the
Um,
headhunter?
about the headhunting reality, the headhunting world. What it takes to be headhunted, or what does it take, for you to be the to go candidate in the industry?
Oh, okay. So if you want to be headhunted, first, if you are a fresh grad, most likely you would not be
No,
listed in
you're
the
not.
recruiters list. Okay. Normally, for headhunters, I'm not in the headhunting industry, so I'm not well versed in it. But we do engage with a few headhunters company to find potential candidates. Normally they will get a CV, your CV after they scan you, maybe in LinkedIn. So if you want to get headhunted, you need to update your profile in the LinkedIn and then connect to as much as recruiter as possible. So
That's very interesting because I had a student that asked me yesterday, he's in his final semester. He asked, Miss, is it important for a fresh grad or a student to have a LinkedIn account? So what do you think about this one?
It is my personal opinion is it is not a must, but something need to start somewhere. So for fresh grad, when you start your first job, for example, it will be good if you put in your profile, put in what achievement that you have achieved, what tasks that you have done. Then that will be your bullets, your selling point that could attract the headhunter. So then the headhunter could come hunting you lah.
I see. That's a good point. Okay, we have time for last question from Asmawi. Thank you so much, Asmawi, for your question. So he asked, can the candidate ask about the working condition in the company and why is the job available? You know, is it inappropriate to inquire what happened to the last employer before he left? Happened? Why he quit? Is it okay to ask that kind of question?
Okay. For this one, if you are curious about it, yes, you can ask. But if you ask me that, then I will ask you back, why do you want to know this information? So why it relates? Why do you need that information? So let's say if you are curious, you would like to know the first question, yes, I will answer it. But if you just ask for the sake of asking, I would say that it doesn't bring value. Because during that 1 hour you have to sell your values. So let's say if you're really curious, then you can ask. There's no issue. But normally, if someone asks me something that I don't think that it is necessary for him to know, I would say that I will share that information later after you join our company.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, Mr. Khairel Akmal Idris, Team Leader of Cloud Infrastructure Service Malaysia. He has been a wonderful, engaging, insightful. I can say any more about his session. We learned a lot from you. Great tips, great tricks, great secrets also coming from you. We hope we are able to have you on board with us anytime soon, Mr. Khairel.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you so much. Selamat menyambut Ramadan. Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're still with us and thank you for being with us up to this minute. We are almost at the end of the program. A quick reminder to all of our amazing viewers from all over Malaysia and also Indonesia, please scan the QR code that will be showing in a little bit, which lead you to your registration and also for your e-certificate, all right? Or you can also find the registration link in the comment section in our YouTube live. The registration link will be active for the next 1 hour, all right? So please don't be late, please don't miss out. Click on that link for your registration and also for your e-cert, all right? All right, the QR is also available. We will show the QR code in the screen in a little while. Please don't forget that the link will only be active for the next 1 hour, all right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude our webinar this evening. With that, thank you again to all of our wonderful speakers and their insightful sharings. I hope you are able to get inspired, to get moving on your job hunting phase. Or simply pick up a new knowledge today. I've learned a lot. My colleagues learned a lot. On behalf of the organizer, thank you for making the time to be with us today. The Naked Truth 2.0, a webinar on the present reality of recruitment process 2023. What a wonderful learning experience. It was a great pleasure having all of you on board with us today. We wish you a pleasant day ahead. Selamat menyambut Ramadan. Ramadan Karim, everyone. Thank you so much. Take care. Assalamualaikum. You can start scanning the QR code. Yeah, it's up on your screen. It's alive. Lah, aku macam ni yang menggigit. Bye-bye.